Welcome into the Aggie Game Day Extra podcast. I'm KBTX Sports Director Tyler Shaw. Not joining me today, there is no Travis Brown or Max Crawford. I'm flying solo, but for the second straight week, we do have a very special guest joining us on the podcast. Head coach of Texas A&M women's tennis, Mark Weaver, two-time national champion, joining us now for a sit-down interview. Joining us now is the newest national champion, head coach Mark Weaver of Texas A&M women's tennis. Mark, congratulations again. Second national championship in 3 years. I know it's been a few days now for it to settle in. Just what's the feeling now that you've had a little bit of time to process this?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. And you brought us good luck 2 years ago in Stillwater when we won it the first time. So, but yeah, we're all just excited. I think we're all still running on kind of adrenaline right now, and it was exciting times, that's for sure. It was 3 marathon matches, playing the late night show 3 nights in a row, and it was definitely one for the history books.
Not only was it 3 marathon late night matches, those last 2 semifinal and final matches, I mean, that was against the number 1 and number 2 ranked teams in the country, a very familiar foe in Georgia in that semifinal match. Just walk me through when you get to that Final Four and you're taking on the defending national champions, Georgia, a team you guys are very familiar with on their home court. What was that like, that semifinal match there?
That was an amazing experience. They brought the house. They had probably 2,000 or 3,000 people there yelling and screaming, and it was a pretty intimidating environment, to be honest, especially in the doubles point. I think that really caught us off guard, took us a little while to kind of get our feet under us, and it was an amazing comeback. They kind of had us down and buried, and we came back at number 4 singles, down a set in 4-1, and just a pretty miraculous comeback there. And yeah, it took everything in us to get past that. And not only the top team on their home courts and our big rival the last few years, having played in the championship match the last few years, it was one for the record books.
And maybe a bit of a storybook ending to that match when you have your number 1 player, Luciana Perez, that clinches that one for you.
Right. I mean, Luciana was really struggling out there physically. The good news is Lapata from Georgia was both struggling physically as well. It was almost like a 15th round of the heavyweight boxing going on out there, and it was an amazing match. Luciana had to really dig deep there, and not only was she playing an excellent player, but playing against the crowd and cramping the whole time. She ended up staying at the hospital about 4 a.m. that night, getting 2 IVs, and then she had to bounce back the next day to play a pretty good team in Auburn.
Right, and so you advance and you get to Auburn. What kind of nerves do you have as a head coach just in the middle of this match? When you're playing teams like Georgia and Auburn, things could go either way, and you're kind of maybe, bouncing between courts. Just what is going through your mind in the middle of this all?
Believe it or not, out of the 3 matches there, that was the most calm that I was. Now, I'm generally pretty good at hiding my emotions, yeah. But I was a bit more nervous in the first couple rounds. We were kind of down. We'd lost the doubles point, and anytime you lose a doubles point, it gives you a sense of uneasiness there. And just for some reason, after the Georgia match, it was such an epic match with the crowd and playing Georgia. In a sense, the Auburn match, I wouldn't say it was a piece of cake, but it felt a lot better, and I was way more confident going into that match, believe it or not. And then once we got the doubles point, I actually was very confident that we were going to walk away with 4 points there.
Playing your former assistant, who's now the head coach at Auburn, who was, I guess, with you the last time you guys won the national championship. Just kind of what was that like, the dynamic and the history that you two have?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite an impressive job Jordan's done there in a short time. Now, he did inherit a pretty good team. That team had actually beaten Georgia the year before he started there, so it was a good team already in place, but he's definitely elevated them to another level, and the fact that they are pretty close to winning a national title in his second year really speaks to the job that he's done. And yeah, Jordan, of course, had been around, I guess 3 of our girls in the lineup and helped, recruit them here, and that's definitely a bit of an interesting dynamic mentally for the girls that, he not only recruited, he coached a few of them, and of course he knows all of our players' games pretty well. And I think we did a great job of not getting into all the mind games of all that could have caused. And one of our big mottos this year, just kind of staying in the present moment and blocking out those types of distractions. And I think we did a great job. I think we did a better job than Auburn did in the finals of that.
So Daria clinches that final, that championship point. You said that was probably the most calm you were that weekend was against Auburn. But what was the feeling that final point when Daria clinches?
Yeah, in a sense, I guess it's a feeling of relief in a sense because you could see the finish line there, and we had other possibilities. Looked like Luciana was probably going to pull away there. Mia was in a dogfight, but she was actually looking pretty good there. And the Daria match was a very back and forth type match. The young lady she was playing was, she's a very powerful player. She can hit a winner one shot, and then she can kind of hit the back fence in the next shot, so you never really know how that's going to go. And Daria just did a great job of handling the kind of ups and downs, and the mental part of knowing, if I get this, we win the national title. That's pretty hard to block that out, and she did a great job of just focusing on the present moment there.
Over 40 years ago, my parents started C&J Barbecue, and today we continue to honor Dad's legacy with the best barbecue in the Brazos Valley. With locations on Harvey Road, Southwest Parkway, and our newest location on William J. Bryan, we carry on our family tradition of serving up award-winning barbecue, sides, and desserts. We also offer delivery, catering, as well as custom menus and private chef services. Come visit us today for some of the best barbecue around. C&J Barbecue. The C is for Chip, the J is for Joe, and the barbecue is for you.
Is there any the feeling of winning this one, and then you go back 2 years to winning your first one? What's the comparison like of what this one feels like compared to the last national championship?
They both feel different. The first one I feel like was maybe a little more exciting because it was the first time, but in a sense it was a little more maybe expected because I felt like it was definitely us in Georgia all season. I do feel like we were the better team than Georgia that year, even though we had lost to them 3 previous times. But this season, the expectations we weren't really being talked about as a team that could win it all. We were actually picked fairly low in the conference. I believe we were picked 4th or 5th in the conference, and had some few unfortunate health issues early on, and a couple of kids didn't make it to campus like we thought. And I think we overachieved this season, and we just kind of got better and better all throughout the season. This one was truly more rewarding, I feel like, and the girls were just so proud of themselves. They're all just yelling, "Can't believe we did this." Whereas, I think in 24, you didn't hear the "I can't believe we did this." I feel like the girls this season was like, wow, this really, really happened. So I'm very proud of the girls and all the work they put into it.
So what's the key to that? When you're looked at as a quote-unquote underdog, and you're playing these powerhouse programs and able to win, what is the key to, your girls playing their best tennis seemingly in May and the end of the season? I
think it's our continuous work ethic. It's never an up and down program as far as bringing the work ethic to the practices every day. The practices are just the highest of levels, and I've always been coached as a player myself, and as a coach, I always stress if you're bringing in practice every day, the more you bring in practice, the easier it is that it'll translate into the real matches. And that's how we are in our morning hits and the private hits, our team practices in the afternoons, in the weight room, and our team, they do stuff on their own as well, and they get into the gym, work out, they go run the treadmill, and it's our team is just amazing how well conditioned they are.
Now, tennis is a very individual sport, obviously, and collegiate tennis is unique in that they are playing on a team, and while you're playing individual matches, it is part of a team trying to get 4 points. So what is the key to team success in a sport like tennis?
I do think we have a great kind of team harmony, and it's not really something that we necessarily work on that much. We're not going to have campfires on the beach or anything like that, but it's just that kind of that day-to-day interaction, just how everyone kind of treats each other and how we're all kind of on a mission together. And the girls really are proud to play for Texas A&M, and it's one of the rare times in tennis where you can play for something bigger than yourself. They're playing for each other. I like to think they're playing for their coaches to some extent, but they're definitely playing for Texas A&M. We get such great support from the community. It's one of the neat things about College Station, being a college town. We get great support, and I really feel like we're all playing for something bigger than ourselves.
What was it like coaching? We talked about Luciana Perez a little earlier. You've seen her growth from where she got to now the number one player, and now an undefeated season. Just how rare and difficult is that to make it through an entire season undefeated as she did? And just what kind of a player is she?
It's truly unheard of what she's done. The college tennis is at the highest level it's ever been. There's really not a lot of difference between the top college players and some people that are playing the main draw of Wimbledon and the U.S. Open, and they go 28-0. My assistant coach, Tommy Milnicol, joked the other day, I don't think Arena Sabalenka could have gone undefeated this year, and she's such a tough kid. I mean, she's was basically a clay courter when she first came in. She was a French Open junior finalist, so obviously she could play. It took her whole freshman year to kind of get acclimated to the hard courts. Last year, the tennis really improved, but perhaps the mental side wasn't quite there. And her mental side this year, I promise you, I've never seen anything like it. We often bring up Rafael Nadal. He was one of the most focused players. You never knew if he won a point or lost a point, and she's really pretty much mastered that mindset this year. And if it wasn't for that mental side, there's no chance she'd go 28-0 this season.
Yeah, that's quite the comparison there. So I know you have a few girls graduating and leaving the program. And obviously you had to reload from a couple of years ago. So what is the outlook now of the future of Texas A&M tennis when you have a few coming in or leaving? I guess just how do you reload from a team like this?
Yeah, this is the most we've had to reload. We've gone from 8 scholarships now to 10, which is a good thing. We only have 2 returners. So the good news is we have the best player in college tennis returning, and then Lexington Reed, who did an amazing job this season. She's a far improved player from last year. We have an excellent signing class. I believe it was the number 2 class in the nation. We have one stellar player from England who's signed, Ruby Cooling. We feel like she could go in right at the top of the lineup right now and do just fine. And then we have 3 blue chip Americans coming in. We've got another fine player from Bulgaria, and we're making some good strides on the transfer portal. We're getting pretty close to closing out some pretty rock-solid players that would definitely strengthen our lineup. So I think the future's bright. Fingers crossed here in the transfer portal here in the next few days.
So a bright future of a team coming off of a national championship, 2 in the last 3 years. Is it safe to call Texas A&M a budding dynasty maybe in the tennis world?
I like the sound of that. I do feel like over the last 10 or 12 years we've been maybe the most consistent program out there, and we've made some great strides. Historically in tennis on the women's side, it's basically been Stanford for a very long time, and Florida and Georgia and USC, UCLA, and then we've kind of gotten ourselves right up there at the top. So I think people are really catching on that Texas A&M is a great place to become a better tennis player, and we're going to do everything we can to maintain the level, that's for sure.
You just went to Georgia's campus to compete there at the national championship. A lot of people were clamoring about their facilities. I know that is a big recruiting tool. When you have the success you have here now, how much does this help your case? Because I know you would love to have your own indoor facility here in Bryan College Station.
Yeah, that's something that we're working on, and there's definitely some good communication with the athletic department right now, and we're hoping that this momentum of our success can kind of carry on. It definitely would be a nice luxury to have here, and we're optimistic that could one day come true.
So obviously the transfer portal now, but what does kind of the rest of the summer look like for Mark Weaver as you get ready for next season?
I'm hoping to close out this transfer portal in a few days. I'd love to spend some time with my daughter. The summer is always a great time to catch up and be a father for a change. We'll have a few weeks of summer camp, and there'll be some recruiting, so we'll see how it all plays out in the portal this week. But it would be nice to be able to reset and enjoy being a normal person for a little bit this summer. So I'm hoping to get to that point where I can kind of enjoy what we've done.
That was Mark Weaver. He is hot on the recruiting trails right now, trying to build up that roster for next season and hopefully make it 3 national championships in 4 years. A little bit of a dynasty brewing in women's tennis in College Station. But thank you for joining us on this Aggie Game Day Extra podcast. We'll see if Travis Brown, Max decide to join us next week. I'm sure we'll have something fun in store for you. But again, thank you for watching. This is the Aggie Game Day Extra podcast.